In this video, we'll go over player management using the Content Manager. Each player has a set of priorities and a technical profile. Properties are unique to each player, while technical profile stores parameters for the entire groups of players. Changing a player profile will affect all the players that have been assigned this profile. Let's start with individual player properties. You access a player's properties by double-clicking its name. The player properties span multiple pages and include the following sections. General information is where you enter information about the player's location. You can also enter the name of a local contact person with their work phone and mobile number in case you need to reach them. The status checkbox should be selected by default. You can uncheck this box to temporarily disable the player. When disabled, the player will appear grayed out, just like a player license ready to be activated. The location-specific content table lets you upload content that will only be shown on this player. Once the content has been uploaded, you must insert markers in your playlist to show these items. Add marker number 1 in your playlist to play content number 1, and so on. The tag section is where you create and assign player meta tags. The tag's purpose is to redirect playback of certain media and templates to specified players. When player and content tags match, the content will play, while the other players ignore this content. Tags can also be used for searching players and content or for filtering analytical reports. On the next page, we find the Technical Profile section. The player technical profile stores a set of parameters that is shared amongst multiple players. When a profile parameter is changed, all the players who use this profile will apply the new settings. Profiles are managed via the main menu. Select Player Management and Player Profile to access. The technical profile controls the following parameters: the display on-off schedule, the default media content, the player software auto-update settings, the player clock synchronization with the server, the player's reboot schedule, the expired content auto-purge settings, the analytic reports log file retrieval cycle, the player's content storage threshold, and the schedule retrieval and auto-update settings. QL on-premise users have access to all of these parameters. QL Cloud users can't access the profile parameters, however, the QL account administrator has access to some of them. QL Cloud users should ensure their players use the default profile unless asked by Navori support. By default, QL Cloud player screens are set to be turned on 24 hours a day, but users can override this schedule and enter their own settings. Using the override, player screens can be turned on and off independently from other players. To set a schedule, click the Override checkbox and then select the time for each on-off cycle. Users who have access to the player properties can remotely reset or reboot players by clicking the appropriate button. The reset process deletes all the content and programming previously downloaded on the player, effectively returning it to its newly installed state. The reboot button forces a remote player reboot without the need for additional software. This works for all supported hardware devices. The variable table is part of the dynamic data feed feature. Users can store up to 25 values in variables. When these variables are detected in a data feed URL, the corresponding value is retrieved and the correct data feed for this player will be used. This feature is used to display live data in templates or tickers. For detailed instructions on how to implement variables, check out the Navori QL user documentation. The player's display settings is shown in the Playback Resolution section. This information can't be modified and is shown for your reference only. Moving on to the next page, we find additional information. The license information section shows data retrieved from the player, such as the product name, the software version, the license serial number, the software activation date, and the software's expiry date. The Reset License button lets you deactivate the software so you can transfer the license to another device. When you click this button, the player's name and status indicator turns gray, indicating it's no longer being used and ready to be reused elsewhere. The add-on table lists all available software features and options. Checked boxes indicate the feature is available for this license. QL on-premise customers can customize their players by purchasing the specific features they require, while QL Cloud customers receive all available options by default. The system information table is meant to provide specific details about the player's hardware. This information is meant for support personnel. Note, the media player serial field is empty by default. Use this field to enter the hardware serial number for asset management purposes. To close this window and confirm any changes, click the Save button. This concludes our review of the player management features. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.